Hey YouTubers, it's Elena. How are you guys today? I hope you're having a great day. I hope everything is going good for you. I hope life is a breeze. So, this YouTube video, I'm just letting you know in advance, if you don't like rant videos of any kind, don't watch this because oof, I am on fire right now. I just really need to rant to you guys. And I want the world to know my problem of what happened to me. So if you're interested in my rant about why the company Lyft is terrible and Uber is the way to go, keep watching this video. So basically, I'm filming this video on July 8th at 1:40 in the morning. And sorry if the picture looks different. I decided to try and videotape a video on my Mac to see which one I liked better. So if the picture on this looks better, comment below, or if my iPhone looks better, let me know because you guys are viewing, so I want to have what's best for your viewing pleasure. I went to this club tonight with my boyfriend and my dad, and yes, I went to a club with my dad. It was an open mic night at a bar called Martyrs in Chicago. He plays open mic and he's really close with the owner, so even though I'm not 21, I still managed to get in, but my boyfriend is 21, so he could get in no matter what. We went to the fest tonight called Big C Jamboree. This was my second time going. It was my boyfriend's first time going, and it's so fun. There's just a bunch of different bands that do open mics, and they teach you swing dancing, and it's just a really, really fun atmosphere. So we went to that, had a great time. My dad is a musician, so he did open mic. We watched him play, and then my boyfriend had work the next day, so he left at about 10:30. I stayed there with my dad until 11:30, so we stayed for another hour. So my boyfriend had driven us to the actual club. He didn't have to drive. So we decided to call Lyft. And if you're not from Chicago or don't know what these driving services are, Lyft and Uber are basically a car service. If you don't own a car and you need to go somewhere, or you've been drinking and you need a ride somewhere, and they're much cheaper than taxis nowadays. I think an Uber ride is maybe $10, $12, and Lyft is like $8, $9, $10. They're really not expensive, and they're a really cool idea. It's a really great service, but this night went to hell as soon as we got into that Lyft car. We decided to try the company Lyft instead of Uber just because Lyft was a little cheaper and we hadn't really tried it out, so we just wanted to see which was better. So we're waiting 10 minutes for our car after it had said it was already at the location. Like on the app when you order like your car to come get you, it will tell you when your car has arrived, the name of the driver, what kind of car it is, and you can contact them by calling them. So we called the driver after waiting 10 minutes, even though this car had said it was there, and it turned out he was parked on the wrong side of the street, across the street. So he had driven the wrong way on the street to try and come pick us up. First of all, that right there sent a red flag because do not follow the signs of the road. So he was driving a Toyota Camry. Not a bad car at all, but his car was disgusting. It smelled like BO. It was full of garbage, like just not something that as a customer looks physically appealing, you know? You want to get in a nice clean car, a nice clean smelling car. This was far from that. We get in the car and my dad brought two guitars with him because he was playing that night. He likes to have a backup just in case something happens. So we put the guitars in the trunk. The guy's trunk didn't even close. Like, we tried so many times to close the trunk of his car and it just would not close. So after a couple minutes of trying that, the guy finally decided, hey, maybe I should get out of the car and help these people close the trunk of my car. So he managed to get it closed, and then we went off. Also, with Uber and Lyft, you can have the option to pool. Pooling is when you share your ride, and that decreases the amount of your ride. Since it was late at night and my dad doesn't really like the pooling option, and since I'm new to the city life, I'm not really either, and this had only been maybe my third or fourth ride in one of these ride-sharing cars. We clicked the non-pooling option. Well, it turned out that the driver decided to pick up another person without telling us, and we had specifically told him, like, we don't want to pick anybody up, and he was like, well, I turned it on, like, I didn't know, like, he was making up all these excuses, but the driver has that control. They can see from their phone that there is a pooling option and a non-pooling option, and honestly, he probably did it so he could make more money. I mean, he was maybe around my age, probably a little older, but he still went against the rules and switched the ride so that it could be to pooling just for him to make more money. So not only was my dad pissed about how long it took for the driver just to find us, he was now also pissed that the driver was picking up more people when we told him we didn't want any more people in the ride with us. And I can completely understand that that's frustrating. You don't know the stranger getting in the car with you, especially at 12 o'clock at night in the city, you know? We're just trying to get home as quickly as we could, but we were like, whatever. If you want to pick people up, then whatever. This is where it starts to get worse. So we stop at a corner of a street, and normally you get picked up at a specific location, like your house, or how we were at the club, or I don't know, a grocery store or something, but we just picked these two people up at a corner. And not only was it one person, it was two. And they were two guys. So my dad was sitting in the passenger seat in the front, and I was sitting behind him in the back seat. And we only did that because we thought it was just going to be us, and I didn't want to really sit next to the Uber driver. And then these two guys, maybe 25, 26, get into the back seat, and they look like absolute garbage. They're in ratty, nasty clothes. They're only carrying backpacks on them. They looked greasy and gross and just like the kind of people you would be like, I'm gonna avoid these people. Not only that, but they reeked. And when I tell you reeked, it was seeping out of their pores smell of marijuana. And that's also a little scary, that they are doing drugs and getting picked up in a car with me and my dad, and now I'm stuck in the back seat with these people. We go on our way, and I get super quiet, and I scoot over as far as I can to the window because I did not want to be anywhere near these people or talk to them or anything. I just wanted to get home. The guy sitting directly next to me was like, oh, like, hi guys, how are you doing? And we both just said, like, good, we just left Big C Jamboree. What have you been up to all night? And he literally says, doing drugs. Completely admits that they were doing drugs. And I notice he still has cocaine in his mustache. Not only had they smoked weed, but had been snorting cocaine. He talked about how him and his friend were traveling hobos. So we deal with listening to that, and then they get dropped off, finally, after maybe a half hour. So now we're hitting about 1 a.m. And then my dad looked at the driver and said, you better not pick anybody else up, because after that situation, I don't want anybody in the back seat with my daughter. And I could have easily switched seats with my dad, but they had gotten in the car so quickly, there was no way I could have switched seats. And we didn't pick anybody else up, thankfully. Believe it or not, the night gets worse from there. We finally dropped off those two hobos, and we're still about a half hour from home. We have a long ride ahead of us, we're tired, you know, we're a little upset with the situation. So we're stopped at a red light, and we're in the right turn lane. Now, at the streets in Chicago, the rights will turn on green arrow, but the people going straight will still have a red light. So there was only one car next to us in the left lane that wanted to go straight. We got a green light, so we were turning right in the process of that. And the girl in the car next to us decided, I don't want to go straight anymore. I want to make a right-hand turn. And she pulled out in front of us as we were turning, and we got into a car accident. We got into a car accident with the Lyft company. Regardless of whose fault it was, it still happened. Neither drivers were paying attention at all. The girl was on her phone, not paying attention. The Lyft driver wasn't really paying much attention either and just kind of went for it, but she sped up quicker and went for it also, so it was just a complete mess. So we get in the accident, and they had to call the police because it was an accident, and my dad was like, we're getting out of the car. Like, this, I'm done. I'm not staying in this car anymore. You picked up somebody when I told you not to. I didn't click the pooling option. You got into an accident with customers in the car. Who does that? He got pissed then at my dad for leaving the ride. I don't know about you guys, but I would think if you got into an accident at 1 o'clock in the morning in the not best area, you would get into another car to go home. Like, I'm sorry you got into an accident, but it's not our car. That's your car. It's your problem to deal with. We call Uber and have them pick us up, and right away we knew this was going to be so much better because the Uber driver came in a nice Volkswagen. The car was completely clean. It smelled nice. The man was well dressed, where our driver was in like sweatpants and a wife beater and a hat. Like, I know it's just a driving job, but you still have to dress appropriately. You know what I'm saying? Uber finally picks us up, and we get all our stuff and go into the Uber, and we tell the Uber driver like everything that happened, and he was like, I have never heard of an Uber driver getting into an accident with their customers in the car. The point of the rant of this video: do not ever take Lyft. Ever. It's a terrible service because it's a cheaper service, so maybe people who don't have as much money pay for Lyft instead of Uber, but I completely recommend Uber. I have never had a bad Uber driver, and if you decide like, hey, I'll do the pooling option, then they do, and I've never ridden with a doped out passenger. I'll just be honest and say it. If you live in the Chicago area and you need a driving service to come get you for any reason, Uber is the way to go. Just a fair warning to all of you guys, just so that I hopefully helped you out with this little rant / story video. So since it is now 2:15 in the morning, I am gonna go to bed. I had a great start to my night. It was a really great time, but the end of my night kind of sucked. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for sticking with me through my rant video. If you watched it all the way through, thank you. If you liked this video or found it helpful, please click the like button, subscribe down below. 16 subscribers, thank you guys so much. This is super exciting. I'm really enjoying YouTube, so subscribe. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!